What's going on YouTube? Legions Gaming here with another 7 Deadly Sins Grand Cross video, and today I'm going to be covering what units you should be using for Guild Boss hard mode, because I know a lot of people are having a lot of difficulty with hard mode. He's 120k CC. A lot of people don't know if they can use the same team comp as normal or what units they should be using. So in this video I'm going to be going over the best units and what units you should be enhancing and focusing on to gear up for the Guild Boss hard mode. Without further ado, let's get right into the video. Okay, so now this is the team that I normally use for normal mode. I got my Gustav, which I still need to upgrade a little bit. He's very weak. I got to upgrade my Gustav and Guild Thunder a little bit more. So this is the team that I use for normal. Eventually, I want to replace Elizabeth and just do a rush like freeze team and then put Helbram and Guild Thunder and Gustav there. But it's going to be a little difficult. Getting his tier 3 freeze is very difficult without healer. But we'll see how that goes. But this team, unless they're very geared, does not really work. You have to have way over 120k CC for this to work, at least 110. Gustav has to be very tanky. So does Elizabeth and Guild Thunder, especially Jericho. Jericho has to have at least 70k HP, because if the boss focuses Jericho, she's gonna die because it's got the type advantage over her. So you're gonna want to make sure that she has survivability, or you have someone to heal her, or maybe a Merlin. Maybe you can replace Guild Thunder with a Merlin, and I'll show you the team that I'm using actually. This is what I use for hard mode. I do not bring Gustav because Gustav needs to be enhanced, but actually I want to replace Bond with Gustav. The only reason I bring Bond is to reduce its attack and defense, so it doesn't do that much damage against my units, and also so I can lower its defense down a little bit so I can do more damage with Jericho, since I can't freeze him and do the 80% or 200% more damage with the freeze. Now, the reason I bring Merlin, she gives everyone their ultimate by 1 faster, and also she has her barrier. Now the boss cannot inflict the debuff if they can't break the barrier, so that's why where she comes in, where she's very good. You can save King's Purifies by using the barrier, and he has to break the barrier and be able to debuff you. So I have her. You want to build her attack and defense if you have her, because the higher her attack, the more strength the barrier is going to have. The reason I bring King instead of Elizabeth is I need to be able to purify debuffs here. Purify debuffs and also heal. I could bring Elizabeth, but she needs a tier 2 to be able to purify, and her ultimate does not increase your ultimate gauge if you have the heal debuff on you. So if you can't heal, if the recovery debuff is on you, you cannot heal your units, and also if you cannot heal your units, you do not get the ult gauge increase. So that's why I don't bring her here. Maybe when Gauther comes out, I can replace Bond and put him and Elizabeth, so I can give her tier 2 heal all the time. That way she can cleanse and heal at the same time. That way I don't have to have King there, and I can make everyone get their ults really fast. Also, Bond, his ultimate 50% damage done, like attack and defense steal that he does. His ultimate steals attack and defense by 50%. So that's why I always ultimate him first and then do Jericho. I'm going to show you guys in a pre-recorded video and go over what I'm doing in the video. I do use Bond's ult. The reason I pre-recorded it is I wanted to get the perfect video. And you guys know that guild bosses take a couple of tries to get the perfect RNG for your cards and all that to line up perfectly. So I had to do a couple, like 5, 6, 7 around there to do the video. So I'll show you guys on the video what I did and why I did what I did. Now I'm going to tell you guys some units that you could be using if you don't have Jericho. Now I highly recommend you have Jericho because she's in a coin shop. If you didn't get her when she was 20 coins, if you have the 30 coins to get her, I'm telling you right now, get her. She is going to be the unit that hits the hardest and gives you the most score in Guild Boss as of right now. She's the hardest hitting single target DPS unit. You're going to need her to get high score on a lot of stuff in this game, and a lot of the Guild Boss, the other raids that come out, the other death matches that come out. She hits like a truck. Now a good replacement to Jericho, if you don't have her or you don't have the gold coins to get her, unfortunately, here is Blue Elizabethan Hawk. If you pull the Blue Elizabethan Hawk, she actually does a lot of damage. Her amplify ability, for every buff that she has on her, she does plus 30% damage increase. So if you have an Arthur or a Guild Thunder's was probably a little bit better, but his pass is not as great. Maybe Helbram. If you have Helbram buff is actually pretty good here. You get an extra 30% damage, and if you use her buff as well, which is on all allies, it gives her plus 30% resistance. So that right there is already plus 60% more damage. And if you have Merlin, that counts as a buff. The barrier counts as a buff. So that's plus 90% more damage that she can deal. And this move actually hits pretty hard. Now, the reason I said you could use Blue Elizabeth and Hawk, not mainly because of that move or her second ability, it's her ultimate. Her ultimate does a lot of damage, and she's a blue unit. So 700% damage if you have a Meliodas equipped with her. It's plus 800% damage. So 800% of her attack, if you build her attack really high, she can actually hit very hard. Again, I mean, not that great for this, but if you don't have Jericho, you could or a Blue Elizabeth and Hawk. You could use a Red Elizabeth and Hawk too. I'll show that in a second. But you could also use Blue Slater if you have Blue Slater. The only thing is you're probably not going to be getting his passive, the 300% crit chance if they have no ult orbs. This boss is obviously going to have ult orbs very easily because you can't petrify it or anything, so he's not going to have his crit chance. He does hit very hard, about 630% if you have him paired with Simon, and his other moves deal a decent amount of damage too, and he has 2 times crit chance on these regular moves. They hit pretty hard. Slater hits pretty hard, but you're not going to be seeing, you may be able to clear it, but you're not going to be seeing high score numbers like 600 plus score if you're going to be using units like Slater. You'll probably just be able to pass it. Okay, now, Red Elizabeth and Hawk will probably actually be better than Blue Elizabeth and Hawk just because of this one ability here, her skill 1. It hits very hard and it ignores defense. Charge ignores defense. And just that skill 1, it already does 200% of her attack. Very, very good. If you get a tier 3 of this, it's 500% attack. That's very, very good. And she also disables their buffs and debuff skills. Now, I haven't tested this yet. I don't know if it removes the guild boss's defense up and HP up or whatever. I don't know if it removes it. I'm going to test it on a different video, and I'll let you guys know. But you guys can also use her. This move does a decent amount of damage as well. But what you really want is, the reason you want to use her, she's very easy to max out her ultimate already. I already have her ultimate maxed out, which does over 1,000% damage. And even at skill 1, tier 1, it does 700% of attack. 700%. So if you build her really high, you can do her charge ability, the first one, or you could do the skill 3, her ultimate, and it deals massive amount of damage. Also, her unique fills up by 10%. Her basic stats increase by 10% for every turn that she doesn't get a hit. It resets upon taking damage. Now, this boss is going to AoE damage, but if you have a Merlin barrier, that doesn't count as her taking damage if the barrier doesn't get broken, so that actually pairs really well with her. Now, other than those units I named, there's not really any other units that's going to make you get a very, very high score. So those are the units that I think that you're going to want to need for this. You need some of the SSRs from the banners to do this. To get a high score anyway. You can obviously do this with SR characters enhanced, or even rare characters enhanced if you have the good enough gear. And get lucky enough with RNG, but you're not going to be getting a high score if you don't have these characters. Now, I'm going to show you guys a quick little video. This was a quick video of the battle I did against the guild boss, and I got over 600 score, which is pretty average. You're going to want to try and get all tiers of the score. I'm going to show you guys what points you can get from doing the challenges and what you should be focusing on. One of them is giant. Bring a giant. You don't do that because you're going to lose a lot of score because she's an AoE character and doesn't deal enough damage against the boss. Okay, now as you guys can see here, it actually changed. It's not giants. I forgot that was last week's. Today's the reset. I still got to do these today. Clear with a fairy hero on the team, plus 20 points. So I'm going to be wrong team. I'm going to be using King, so I'm going to get fairy points for him. Use rank 3 skills 2 times. That should be feasible if you prolong the battle a little bit. You're kind of going to want to try and do that. 40 points is a lot of points in this. And then clear after attacking with the hero with an attribute disadvantage 3 times. That's going to be very easy. I have Jericho and Bond and Merlin. They all have the disadvantage against them. All you got to do is hit 3 times. You're definitely going to want to do this one. You get 90 points. 90 points is a lot in this, especially with all the multipliers. And you're going to want to try to hit. You're going to want to try to finish this before turn 5. After turn 5, you start losing a lot of points. For every other turn that gets prolonged after that, you lose a lot of points after turn 5. And that's also, I believe, when he wants to hit his ultimate. I think he hits his ultimate turn 3 or 4. But if you have Merlin, you can reduce his ultimate by using her skill 1, so he doesn't ult you. You're also going to want to try and hit over. If you have Gustav for this, you're going to want to use your tier 2 or tier 3 freeze, do 200% damage, or even if you have Red Merlin, 200% damage on her freeze. It's just very hard to get to tier 3, and the RNG takes a while, especially with this difficulty, he hits really hard, and if you don't have a healer, it kind of sucks. So if you do have a freeze, you're probably going to want to try to go for over 600,000 damage. That's what I have done with the tier 3 freeze with Gustav. Actually, that was a tier 2. I didn't get to do a tier 3. I hit for like 650k or something like that. But with just this comp without freeze, you're going to want to try and hit at least 250 to 300k to at least get around 600 score, 550 about around there, especially if you're getting these done. Now, without further ado, let me show you guys the battle real quick, and I'll show you guys what you should be doing and what to look out for. Okay, now I am using Bond's Extort to make him do less damage, and so I can do more damage to him. And I'm also trying to get my Jericho ult as fast as possible, so I'm going to be doing a lot of moves with her. And I'm using Merlin's buff as much as possible to be able to get the barrier and also give a lot of points to me. Every time I buff someone with the barrier, I get +2 points. Also, I know there's a little bit of crackling in the background. I tried lowering the sound as much as possible. I'm sorry. There was something wrong with the audio when I recorded, but I already fixed it for this video, so this was pre-recorded. I apologize again. I know I'm going to get flamed for this in the comment section, but I apologize, and it's already fixed for next video. So, okay, now as I said, we're trying to get our ultimate as fast as possible. Right now, just thinking of the best thing to do. I'm reducing his ult gauge right here because I had no more barrier for Merlin, so I had to use a bunch of attacks. And I was trying to save up Bond's Extort to get a 3-star so I could get more points, but I don't know, I don't think it happened. Also, Bond's Extort works as a debuff, so you can be using it against the guild boss to do increased damage with Jericho's skill, because she deals more damage against debuffed enemies. As you can see, he has this ult, but I can prolong it with Merlin's skill 1 right there. That's why Merlin is also so good for this event. She can make him never do his ult if you get RNG and get the right cards and keep getting her skill 1. Now, I'm going to wait to do Jericho's ultimate until I can do Bond's skill 3. Now, I'm already at turn 4, so I want to beat it by turn 5. As you can see, he lifesteals a lot, the enemy, the guild boss, so you're going to want to obviously hit really, really hard with this crit to be able to one-shot him. Right now, I'm thinking if I should crit him right now or increase this by another turn. But I'm using Jericho's skill 1 first, so increase her, I'm trying to increase her crit chance. Her crit chance goes up with every skill that she uses, so that's why I'm using that before I do her ultimate. Not sure, I'm pretty sure I kill him here. Just want to make sure here. I think I hit for 200 something today. Yeah, 220. It's pretty low. Usually I hit, I already tried it again today and I hit for 250k. But 635 score is still very, very good. It's a very good score. I got almost all the challenges done except for the giant one. This was the one last week. I'll do an updated video for the new one for every week. Every week I'll make a video about this to show you guys the best team comp to be using for the challenges that are being made. This week it's a fairy, so all you got to do is be using King like I just used on this team. Also, the one that's gonna be a little difficult this week is you have to use 2 skill 3s. It's gonna be kind of hard without a gold 3 in your team. You're gonna need a lot of RNG. It's also 40 points, so that would help out a lot. But I think this is about it for the video, guys. I really hope that this video helped you guys out and that you guys beat the boss and get a high score. Let me know in the comment section down below the scores you got and if this video helped you, what team comps you're using, if you're using another team comp that I didn't talk about in the video. And like the video if you haven't already, subscribe, hit the notification bell to be notified for future guides and pull videos, etc. Follow me on Twitch where you can ask me questions live, or we can just hang out, do polls while I'm autoing a lot of content, because that's what we're doing right now. And I'm also doing a lot of geared PvP. And also join the Discord if you haven't already. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys on the next video.